Hey guys, welcome to the Trash Picture Show. Recently I was tagged by Sean Erskine in the 10 for 10 tag. 10 different movies from 10 different genres, your favourites from each genre. And yeah, it's a really fun tag. But by God, Sean, if you're watching this, you're a pure bastard because it's so hard to pick. And I'll be picking people at the end. I'll be tagging people at the end. But yeah, it's a fun tag, but it's really tricky to pick not only your favourite genre, but your favourite movie from the genre. But I did my best. And I'm going to start off with romance because I'm a bit of a romantic at heart. And I'm going to start off with David Lynch's Wild at Heart. This is a romance in only a way David Lynch can do it. Essentially, you have Nicolas Cage and Laura Dern as these kind of star-crossed Bonnie and Clyde-like lovers. And they go on a road trip and they're pursued by Dern's mother's kind of henchmen, and Cage gets wrapped up in some insidious goings on involving William Dafoe. And it's a really good movie, really quirky movie, great soundtrack. And yeah, if you haven't seen it and you're a David Lynch fan, where the fuck have you been hiding all this time? Definitely check out Wild at Heart. Great romantic movie, bit quirky, then again it's David Lynch, well worth a look. Next up, the action genre. I have to go with the 1987 classic Predator. I adore this movie. As most people know, I'm a big Predator and Alien fan, but I adore this flick for the simple reason it's not only a cool kind of science fiction or creature movie, it's an awesome action movie. The sequence involving Dutch's team raiding the gorilla compound is awesome. There's some really cool kind of setups and kills by the Predator, and it might dip a wee bit into horror. Some people call it a slasher in the jungle, but at its heart, it's got big guns, a big alien, and big fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger. And for me, that ticks all the boxes for a great action movie. So yeah, definitely check out Predator, kick-ass flick. Next up, comedy. And while most people are like, oh yeah, Kevin Smith's probably best work is the original Clerks, I have to go with his second outing, which is Mallrats. I adore Mallrats. And while I can empathise more with Clerks because I worked in retail for 15 years, there's something about this I just enjoy because it's still rough around the edges and some of the stuff is a bit cheesy, just like Clerks. But I found that Smith seems to have found his kind of footing with this one a bit more. Again, he kind of bettered himself as years went on, but I just find this enjoyable and fun. And Lee's Brody, I really like the character. Jeremy London is cool. These two friends, and it reminds me of like my days off, just dossing around town, trying to find shit to do with my friends and talking shit and giving out about women and comic books and and life and thinking like our world would end. But yeah, really great fun movie. A little over the top, and that's probably why I like it even more. It isn't as down dismal as Clerks, which I still like, but this is a lot more fun and it's got some really good gags. So if you get a chance, definitely check out Mallrats. Next genre is animation. I have to go with The Lion King. I absolutely adore The Lion King. Great voice cast. The animation department kicked arse on this, and originally a lot of the animators wanted to jump ship from this to go to Pocahontas because they thought it was the more art house of the flicks. But I definitely think that this resonates a lot more. If you were to ask people which do they prefer, Lion King or Pocahontas, I think Lion King would kick arse the whole time. Great voice cast. You have the likes of Matthew Broderick. You have Jeremy Irons, Nathan Lane. You have Rowan Atkinson, James Earl Jones. Really great voice cast. The animation is splendid, and the music I like. You know, it's like I just can't wait to be Kane. Be prepared. Fantastic music. And just it's a staple of my childhood. I think this is one of the best flicks to come out of the Disney Renaissance, and I think this was when Disney were at their peak making the traditional animation. Next up we have adventure. Has to go with the original Marion C. Cooper's King Kong. This is a fucking classic. The animation by Willis O'Brien kicks arse. This stuff must have been like witchcraft. And while a lot of people would be like, oh, Jesus, you didn't pick Jurassic Park. I was going to pick Jurassic Park, and then I realized, you know what, if it wasn't for King Kong, we probably wouldn't have Jurassic Park. We wouldn't have a lot of movies, but again, classic movie. Not the most deepest characters, but it's a cool adventure story. RKO done a wicked job producing this movie. Had a sequel that followed, I think, the same year or maybe a year after, Son of Khan. But if you are a fan of stop motion animation and you want to see a really cool kind of old school adventure flick, and you haven't seen it, if you've seen the Peter Jackson ones or the Monsterverse ones and haven't seen this, you are doing yourself a discredit. So definitely check out this movie. Kicks arse, great creature effects, and they give Khan so much personality and life. And yeah, I think if there was no King Kong, we wouldn't have Jurassic Park, we wouldn't have Pacific Rim, and yeah, kick-arse movie, absolute kick-arse movie. Next genre has to be, I don't know, maybe Sean thinks I'm cheating or not, but documentaries, and I have to go with My Best Fiend. This is a documentary on the working relationship between Klaus Kinski and Werner Herzog, and basically it has Herzog retracing the steps of Kinski's life and how they both intersected, and how they had a tumultuous relationship, to say the least. Like, they wanted to kill each other, but they were actually very close as well. And like, it goes over his time on the production of Fitzcarraldo, where he thought about having Kinski killed on the set of that, and just it's a fascinating documentary. And if you like Herzog and you want to really get a personal kind of feeling of the guy, this is the documentary to check out. You can tell that Kinski drove him mad, but you can also feel the sorrow that he was his best friend as well as being his worst nightmare. So yeah, definitely check out My Best Fiend by Werner Herzog for documentaries. Next up, horror. And again, really hard to pick because I'm a big horror aficionado. But one movie I found that would always cheer me up no matter how shite my day was. Because as bad as my day was, it could never get as bad as the character in this movie. Evil Dead 2. I absolutely adore this. It's obviously a remake, well, a semi-remake of the original Evil Dead. Sam Raimi decided to redo it and put a more comical spin on it. And Bruce Campbell kicks arse. He's so silly, so likable. The dude can act in reverse. The creature designs from Henrietta to Evil Ash to Evil Ed, they all kick ass. The ending, the medieval ending, you gotta check this out. Bruce Campbell kicks arse, and it's really fun, really silly, and for some reason, I find when I watch this movie as well, it gets me into Halloween spirit, because there's a sense of mischievousness and silliness to this movie, and I don't know why, but Evil Dead 2 always hits its mark for me. Next up, we have Westerns, and I am definitely going to go with the classic Sam Peckinpah. Two Sam Peckinpah movies. The classic Wild Bunch. I love Sam Peckinpah's Westerns. I love him and Sergio Leone, but mainly Peckinpah, because Peckinpah really solidified the idea of the revisionist Western, whereas you had like John Huston, who kind of romanticized the idea of the Old West. Peckinpah shredded that shit. He was like, no, the Wild West was not a romantic place. It was not a fun place. It was filled with really scummy kind of people who were out to survive, and that's what the Wild Bunch is. Like, you have Ernest Borgnine from Werewolf using a Mexican peasant girl as a human shield. You have a bunch of I think Templars. I think they were the religious group getting trampled at the end. Yeah, they get killed, and it's just by and large it's a great movie, a fantastic revisionist Western, and Sam Peckinpah does an amazing job at that. So yeah, well worth checking out. Check out The Wild Bunch. Next up, War, another Sam Peckinpah classic, a very great anti-war movie. I was going to go with Come and See, but I think that movie, I've watched it once and I thought it was a good movie, but it is not what you would call an enjoyable movie. It is a hard watch. But Cross Iron, again, not the easiest watch, but a shite sight better to comfortabler to watch than say Come and See. You have basically James Coburn, and it's ballsy of Peckinpah because it portrays the some of the Nazi soldiers in a more sympathetic light. That these guys are not part of the high-ranking kind of fascist party, or they aren't part of the German aristocracy. They're basically boots on the ground, and they're disillusioned with it. And James Coburn is a character just being offered the cross iron. He's like, it's a fucking piece of metal. I'm not fighting for a piece of metal. I'm not fighting for notoriety. I'm literally trying to fight to keep my men alive at this stage. This movie is set at the tail end of the war, and essentially the Germans are on the way out. And there is a fantastic anti-war message with this. Maximilian Schell is also in this movie, and James Mason. It's a great movie, fantastic anti-war movie. Not as harrowing as Come and See, but it does kind of point out the fucking insanity of war and how fucking absolutely ridiculous war can be. So if you get a chance, definitely check out Cross Iron for best war genre. And lastly, I am going to go with Takeshi Miike for foreign language movie Audition. And yeah, I could have easily kind of put this into the genre of horror, but I think this is more interesting to look at as a foreign film because I could not even see this being remade today in regards to a Western production. This is definitely a movie that kind of looks at Japanese society, looks at the role of women, how women are more viewed as a commodity or a kind of, dare I say an accessory, and it's the folly and dangers of that. You have a recently widowed individual who decides to kind of audition different women, and he thinks he's found kind of like the perfect woman, and she is far from it, and she is as damaged as they can be, and she's obviously ready to inflict as much damage on her would-be suitor. So if you get a chance, check this out. Great horror movie or thriller, if you want to go with that, but also a very, very interesting movie that doesn't really fuck around when it comes to certain themes of love and mental anxiety, and really goes to some really dark places. And I genuinely don't think this could have been done back in the time, most certainly, and I don't know if it still could be done today as a Western movie. If you could remake it, I can see it being watered down. But definitely check out Audition, and don't let the fact that it's foreign language scare you off. So yeah, they were my top 10 movies of my top 10 genres. And so I'm going to tag the following people. I'm going to tag Ethel Cross from 13 Originals. She kicks ass. Brittany Wright of Popcorn Time. Lady Sacha of What Did I Just Watch? Trenchy, aka the Soulless Trenchcoat. Nightwatch, I'm going to tag him. I don't know if he does tag videos, but I'll tag him. And I'll tag Sacha, aka Sexy Monkey. So yeah, they are the people I'm tagging. And thanks a million to Sean Erskine for thinking of me for this tag. Really fun, really great, really difficult though. But yeah, guys, if you get a chance, check out Sean's channel. Really fun, and he kicks ass, and I really appreciate him tagging me. So yeah, that was my 10 movies and 10 genres. And yeah, have a good one. Take care. Bye now.